Hey guys, I'm excited for this new section of U.S. history we're talking about, more specifically Tennessee history, and we're going to start it off with Tennessee and its prehistoric and precolonial Indians. This quiz will be on Friday, January 11th, and here the study guide it will be up online, and this video is obviously going to be on YouTube and on my website. All right, so Tennessee gets its name from Tennessee, and then it changed to Tennessee, and then eventually to Tennessee. So it started out, a lot of these cultures, as we talked about in class, did not have written word. So these words changed based on who they were talking to and eventually who wrote them down. So it's from a Yuchi word that was translated and changed from Creek to Cherokee and finally written down by Europeans. That's why we have the 20-something different spellings I showed you on Monday, but we now spell it, and it's been standardized as Tennessee, Tennessee, and it means meeting place, the bends of the river, or where two rivers meet. And you can actually see how all three of those, we talked in class how all three of those can be the same meaning depending on who you're looking at and who's looking at it. The first group of Indians that we talked about today that came from, it actually came down across the land bridge from Russia into Alaska, or trailing mastodons or woolly mammoths, were the Paleo Indians. Paleo means ancient or very old. They were nomadic, they were wanderers, so they didn't have a set home. They just kind of followed and tracked the mastodons and other animals they were hunting, and when those animals moved based on the season, they moved right behind them. The most famous site for the Paleo Indians is the Coates Hines site, and I showed you pictures of that today. This is a site where mastodon bones, molars, and the like were found in Williamson County, Tennessee, proving that there were Paleo Indians inside of the United States, and more specifically in Tennessee. And it shows that these were the first people to live in what we call Tennessee. The next group is the Archaic Indians. They were the first to use their natural resources more effectively, so they lived in the same area longer. They made their homes close to rivers so they didn't have to bring water in. They introduced basic techniques of farming. They invented the atlatl, which was used to throw spears and improve traps and nets. And they were the first group believed to tame and make dogs pets. So this is the Archaic. The Old Stone Fort, which I'll show you a picture here in just a moment, is related to the Archaic Indians, and that's one of the sites we know, and it proves that Archaic Indians were in Tennessee. The next group is the Woodland Indians. These were some of the first to build permanent villages. They planted gardens, and they first cultivated corn, so they were the first group to cultivate corn. They were believed to have developed the bow and arrow. So when you think Indians or cowboys and Indians, and that's in your mind, Indians and bow and arrows go hand in hand. And so these were the Woodland Indians that settled in parts of Tennessee. The Old Stone Fort is now a protected Tennessee State Park. The Old Stone Fort was a stone ceremonial structure in Middle Tennessee that many believed were connected to the Archaic and the Woodland Indians. The Woodland Indians also had the Pinson Mounds. These were the burial mounds and mounds of ceremonies, and showed that Woodland Indians believed in life after death. The Old Stone Fort and Pinson Mounds showed that complex societies existed in prehistoric Tennessee, and both of these are protected as Tennessee State Archaeological Parks. So that's pretty neat that we've got that much history. Here's a picture of the Old Stone Fort. You can see it looks just like a fort, but it's most likely was used as a ceremonial type area where they do rituals and religious stuff. And then I think most of y'all have said this was familiar, the Pinson Mounds. Some are burial mounds, some are not. But most of them had to do rituals and religious stuff. The next group is the Mississippian Indians. They settled mostly in West Tennessee. They practiced intercropping. That's planting two or more crops together. Pottery and jewelry show they were talented and sensitive people. They had a lot of stuff like that. They were mound builders like the Woodland Indians. And the Chucalissa Indian village near Memphis is the best preserved prehistoric settlement in the United States. So that's a really neat if you ever get to go there. Now we're going to kind of move to more historic Indians that we have writings and other things about. The first group is the Cherokee Indians. These are among the most advanced tribes in North America lands. The largest is in the southeast, in the United States. They highly regarded women, especially as warriors. They called them beloved women if they were a highly regarded warrior, and it gave them powers and responsibilities. The jobs of women, as far as the Cherokee were concerned, were to care for the children and to farm. And Cherokees were a matriarchal society, which means they had to do with their mothers, and that means they belonged to their mother's clan. So if you were ask a Cherokee what clan they belonged to, they would mention that it was their mother's clan. The next group is the Creek Indians. This is called the Creek Nation because smaller groups banded together to protect their interests. They believed in purification rituals where they dived into the water or dove into the water 4 times in the morning. When snow covered the ground, the diving ritual was replaced by rolling in the snow. Next group is the Chickasaw Indians. There's Chickasaw State Park down outside of Henderson. They were not very large in number, but they were very militant and very aggressive. The entire West Tennessee was their hunting ground, but they'd had no permanent villages in Tennessee. Most of them were in Mississippi. And finally, the Shawnee. They were a nomadic tribe. They never built a permanent base, and most of the Shawnee formed alliances just to protect themselves. The final thing you really need to know about the Indian tribes is that most of the Indian tribes mentioned before that had permanent homes built both summer and winter houses or homes. That's just because it was easier to keep a smaller winter home warm during the winter, and then a big long area house cool in the summer. And it was just a matter of being practical and using what they could the best. This quiz will be 10 to 15 questions. It's on Friday, January 11th. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks.